All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to be breaking down the second and third week on my E8 200k evaluation. Quite a few trades to go over this week. Stay tuned to the end of this video to see what my equity curve looks like and how we're going to manage this moving forward. All right, so I've just taken these longs on dollar CAD. Little bit of a spicy entry. Kind of just anticipating a bit of a dollar rebound here. Again, playing my usual setup. Definitely a little bit of a funky one, just given how bearish all of this momentum was. We're trading outside this daily ATR, which is never usually a good sign from my experience. So we'll kind of have to see how this plays out moving forward. I might be a little bit aggressive with my stop management if we even get there. This looks a bit funky, but yeah, let's see how it plays out. All right, so we're back very shortly later. This one has closed out. There's my C trader. So yeah, this one closed out for a very fast loss. Hindsight, yeah, maybe it's not the best, but if I really were to think about it, like if I saw this in a back test, would I take it? Yeah, probably. So maybe I could have applied some discretion to it, but end of the day, it still kind of fit my plan, still fit my rules. So no real dramas. Obviously, the dollar's just very weak at the minute, so we didn't really see any follow through on this. Yes, I could have waited. Before you comment in the comment section, yes, I could have waited for a candle close, but that's just not what I do. So that's fine, is what it is. And we move on to the next trade. All right, so I'm taking a second stab on this dollar CAD. Unfortunately, it didn't actually trigger on all of the accounts, so I don't think this is triggered on my E8. I have just set buy limits, so I'm in on a couple of accounts. But if this does come back to entry, then I do have some buy limits on every account. Nice momentum coming in. This is kind of what I wanted to see initially, but obviously we just didn't get that. So if this momentum can hold, then that would be great. Like I said, I'm kind of playing this dollar support area, looking for a bit of a rebound in the dollar. We see this continue to push higher from here. That would be great. Obviously, I'd like to get tagged in on E8. It'd be kind of frustrating if I didn't, but is what it is. Still long on this, so we'll see how it plays out a little bit later in the session. So I got triggered a few minutes ago at around 3:20 UK time. My cutoff's usually 4 p.m, so no real issues taken at this time. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Right, so it's the following day, 22nd of Jan, still in this dollar CAD long. Didn't manage to reach TP overnight, so that was a little bit unfortunate. Didn't see the follow through. I have just now entered a scaling. This is kind of not really typical of what I would do, but because it is challenge, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with my approach. And this is somewhat of a setup that I don't typically trade, but it's in my arsenal. So this is a very simple model. And again, because we got so close to TP, statistically speaking, there is a high probability that this reaches TP. Obviously, whether that happens or not is out of my control. So what I've done is I've entered a second position in dollar CAD. I have cut my risk on my original position in half. So I have about 1.5% risk exposure, which is fine because the reward is about 3%. So still a 2-to-1, but trying to push the probabilities here a little bit and play this continuation move. Again, price action is still a little bit funky. We do have news in about 2 hours, unemployment and GDP growth as well. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. I will update you when the trade closes or when the next exciting thing happens. All right. So This trade has not been working out, which is fine. Pretty large SL on it, obviously. Just playing the probability game here of this initial position playing out. The market this year has been tough for me personally. We do have news, so I'm hoping we see a bit of a rebound from this from this ADR zone. Again, looking for price to kind of revert back into the mean here. Trade away from this manipulation zone back to the open at least, and then hopefully potentially higher. But news may not give us that. EU has been quite strongly pushing higher, but again, I'm hoping that we reach this sort of mean reversion barrier and then start winding higher in the dollar. So GDP growth was better than previous, better than forecast, which is obviously good for the dollar. We also have core PCE at 3 p.m. today. There was unemployment as well, which is better than expected as well. But yeah, more news later, so let's see how this one does. All right, so I just got back from the gym. It's currently 4:18. Both positions stopped out now for overall minus 1.5%, I think, on E8. Yeah, really unfortunate, to be honest. Just really didn't see the follow through that I was hoping for. Very tough markets this year so far. Very weird price action. Very heavily geopolitical driven. So if you're not on side with these moves, then you're really going to get slapped about, which is what's happening right now. We can see dollar is just moving in one direction. Really one-sided. Really big moves. So yeah, it's what it is. Just got to keep executing my plan. Nothing really to be too concerned about. In times like this, I always like to refer back to my data. So if I look back at my data set, it's very common for me to go through sizable losing streaks. 6, 7 trades in a row, 4 trades in a row, 3 trades, 5 trades in a row. So, it's well within my strategy parameters for this to happen. If I go ahead and bring up the E8 dashboard as well, you can see lovely smooth equity curve to the downside. Currently down about 5.8% based on the dynamic drawdown. I'm only technically down 3% on the initial balance, but obviously because of the dynamic, we are down 5.1. Maximum drawdown here is 8%. So we still have 3% to go. Again, nothing really to be too concerned about. 6 losses in a row. So let's see if we can get a decent winner next. All right, so that is the end of episode 2 of my E8 200k funding challenge. Yeah, a tough week in the markets for me personally. Definitely some things for me to look at. Definitely some things for me to improve on. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect, but I executed my edge, so I'm definitely happy with that. Everything really was in line with what I typically do. So I don't really have any major concerns right now. Just about consistently applying the edge. Obviously, we do only have 3% of drawdown right now. I am going to be sticking with my normal risk, 1%. And whether we pass, whether we fail, I'll be documenting this whole journey on this channel. So stick around for more. Subscribe if you want to see more. Give us a like if you liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.